Got home a few days ago and finally got things put away here in the tack room. Takes a little while to get everything cleaned up, put away. But anyway, had another good trip this year. There was me and my brother Justin that were going to be hunting at the tags, and then along for the ride would be my wife Jamie, my mom Jeanette, and my aunt Dawn, which they aren't there just for the ride. They help out a bunch. My mom did pretty much all the shopping for food before, and everybody kind of helps the cooking and everything in camp. And when people are out hunting, there's always somebody in camp to watch the horses that are still there and make sure they're out grazing. And we had 8 pack horses, so that meant 13 total horses going in, which is a lot to get ready before the trip, putting shoes on them, getting all the pack saddles and all the gear and everything. But finally got that ready, and we made it to the trailhead a couple days before the season. Kind of like to ride in a day early, that way we have time in camp to cut firewood and set up camp a little better and just relax a little bit before we go out hunting. So anyway, we did that, and we had to, well, we didn't have to, but I decided to move camp this year from where we've camped the last few years. I've been seeing this other little spot, and just nice little meadow tucked away. Good water there, and a good spot for the tents and everything. So anyway, we got camp set up. Everything went good. Like I say, the spring is a lot nicer compared to last year. That was the puddle I made them drink out of. This was the fountain of youth. Opening morning came on the 20th. Justin and I were gonna split up just to cover more country, and it just kind of nice being able to do that. Justin and Mom were gonna go kind of around top on the one side of the basin, and I was gonna go kind of in from the bottom side and hunt the basin from the bottom. That I've had a lot of success in the last few years, and anyway, this year is no different. But Jamie and I rode around on the bench, got in there a little ways. I cow called a little bit just to see if there was some stuff kind of down lower, a little different area, and didn't really get a response. So we kept riding, went in there and got to kind of the last clump of trees and tied up. Can't remember if I cow called or just started hearing bugles, but anyway, once it started to get light, there were bugles up top. There were some straight across from us, kind of close to us, and just everywhere, and a lot where Justin was going to be. And I just, at any moment, I knew there should have been a gunshot. Because should have just been an elk up there, but maybe the problem was that there was too many up there. But anyway, the bull that was closest to Jamie and I couldn't get a look at for quite a while, and he had some cows with him, and he sounded pretty good. So I wanted to get a look at him before I moved on, and finally did. And he was a small 6-point, so I decided to let him go. And they were kind of working their way up anyway, going away from us. So we circled down the bottom, got out of sight, and worked our way up the basin. And the little cow calling I'd done kind of brought this little raghorn bull in. And he came in right 10 yards, walked right up to us and right by us. And he bugled a few times, and I thought I had that on camera, but I do, but there's no sound with it, so kind of messed that up. But we kept hearing a bugle up further, and I didn't want to go too high to mess up anything that Justin might be doing up there, but thought, we'll just go check it out. And it sounded like that bugle was actually kind of coming down towards us, so we were working our way up, and all of a sudden Jamie spots him. Said, there's an elk, so I look, and looks like a good bull. And right away I kind of knew, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot him. He just, when you know. And so I get the camera kind of set up, move up a little bit, get the gun, and shooting this. It's a 7mm .8. It's not gonna be shooting any long range, but I just like taking it because it's easy to pack on a saddle. It's lighter, you know, fits in the scabbard nice, and I don't have to pack around a big, heavy bolt action gun. But anyway, that kind of limits my range. But this bull was about 250 yards when we first saw him, and he was kind of coming down towards us, but then he headed up the hill towards some other little kind of raghorn spike bulls and a cow, at least one cow that we saw up there on a bench. And so I cow called, and he looked right at us, bugled, and turned, and he started working slowly down towards us, and kept calling, and eventually he worked out into where I had the camera on him. He was in the frame, and I was just gonna sit and shoot off my knee, and he was a little less than 200 yards at that point. He actually was walking as I shot him. He took a couple steps, and I put one right in his chest, and it exited out the other side. And that one would have done it. Probably wouldn't have had to shoot him again, but you know, an elk, it's still standing. You might as well try to get another one in him. So he kind of went back to where he came from. All I could see was his neck, and you know, that's fine. So I tried to shoot him in the neck to just drop him. Missed, I think, that shot again, hit him, but I don't know, right in the middle of the neck, and later, I mean, it just missed the spine. It didn't do anything, but that kind of made him move a little bit. And then I was able to actually put one more right behind his leg, and right shortly after that, he tipped over, and that was it. But with all that shooting, and don't have the sound on the video, of course, but just in that basin, and the sound bouncing off them cliffs, I mean, that just, I'm sure that ended the hunting for everybody else around too. So and we know, I mean, there was my brother up top, and then they ran into a couple, one guide that's with an outfitter in the area, and I think there was at least one other guide too, so they had several hunters up there. That kind of ended the bugling for the day, and we went up there and got to work on cutting up my elk. So got him cut up, got him stashed kind of next to a tree, kind of in the shade a little bit, what little shade we could find, and hung up. And then we had to walk back to the horses, get back to camp, and we spent a little time there, and then got pack horses. Mom, Justin, and I went back to get the elk, which that went real good. Luckily, he was a little higher up in the basin than a couple of the others we've packed out of there. And we didn't have to go down into where it was real boggy to get him out, so it went real good. Got him back to camp, hung up, and then Justin and I went out that evening. He wanted to kind of glass an opposite ridge, so went over there, ran into some elk actually, right pretty close to camp, but they winded us, and we never saw them, but it sounded like a decent bull. But anyway, right after that, we were able to glass over, and there was the big one, you know. Justin spots him and gets him in the spotting scope and his phone, and he's videoing him, and he's raking a tree, and I don't know, 350-inch bull for sure, I think, you know. I mean, just a really nice bull, and totally different, you know, class than like what we had been seeing in that area. But anyway, we know we're gonna go over there that next day. So it was Justin, Mom, and I, and get over there on top, and just getting light. And there's some real nice basins on the other side that we're gonna just check as we work down that ridge towards where that big bull was. Get in the first basin, just do some bugles and cow calls, and just see if anything responds. And sure enough, something does quite a ways down. Anyway, we get back on the horses and start to ride away, and Justin heard a bugle that obviously was a lot closer, or something. Maybe it was a different elk, I don't know. But we go back, or him and Mom do, and I decided, oh, I'll just go check this next basin, because I didn't really think, you know, anything would happen with that bugle that I'd heard over there. But anyway, I don't see much, so I start working back towards where they were, and sure enough, there's a bugle a lot closer now. So I kind of sneak over there, and I can see him down there in the bottom, and he's working up towards where Justin had been calling. And so I kind of luckily pop right over and I see Justin, so I get down next to him and I start videoing, and he hadn't seen the bull yet, but we knew he was coming, and I didn't get a real good look at him, but I thought he was a pretty good bull, and thought, yeah, if this bull comes in, he's gonna shoot him. So I think Justin just kept bugling, and there's one semi-clearing area down below at, I don't know, it's a couple 100 yards, and so we were, locked on that little spot, expecting the bull to come through that and work his way up the ridge to us. But then all of a sudden, I saw him on the other side of that. He had got past us into what we couldn't see at all. So I cow called, and luckily he bugled, and he comes back around the corner and out into the wide open. And the bull gets out there, and I mean, he's facing us, and I'm fumbling with the call, and I have it upside down, and I make some weird little squeaking noise just to try to get him stopped, expecting to hear a shot immediately after. And nothing, and then, so, okay, the bull comes a little closer, and he stops again, and no shot, and eventually Justin's kind of like, I'm not going to shoot him, and by this time, the bull's within bow range, and he, I'm kind of like, oh, well, I'm thinking he should have shot him, but whatever. So the bull comes up right beside us, ends up seeing us, smelling us, whatever, and takes off, and that's fine, if he didn't want him, he thought his brow tines were a little goofy or something, and that's good. I think he was thinking about that big bull down the ridge, and pretty hard to not see if we can go get that big bull, which I totally understand. So no problem. We get back to the horses, ride to the next basin, and call it. And Justin goes down there and he calls into that one, and same thing, bugle, cow call. Mom and I are up top, and I could hear the bugle, and I don't know if Justin didn't or what, but he got back on his horse and starts riding back up to us, and I expected him to signal us to come on down. So he gets up there, and I asked him if he heard the bugle, and I don't think he did. So we go back down there to the trees, tie up the horses, and call a little more. And sure enough, here's a couple bugles on the opposite side of this drainage, and they're coming down off this hillside, and there's one little bull in front and a big one behind, and at least bigger one, more mature bull anyway. He had a really mature sounding bugle, really sounded good, just the kind that, like, you're probably gonna want to shoot that bull. But unfortunately he's a little weak on his back end, good mass and stuff, short thirds, but just a really good sounding bugle on him. And so anyway, then he gets to the bottom, and we can't see him from where we're at. We kind of work out to this one rock, and I'm up on top of it. Justin's kind of leaning up on the side of it, and we just keep calling, and waiting, and I'm kind of thinking there's no way they can get up to us. It's cliffed out or something, but Justin, he, patient enough that we stayed there, and I would have moved, I probably would have got busted and they would have took off. But eventually that bull came right up out of the side of the hill, just working his way up there, and he stood there. I could just see his antlers for a long time. And yeah, he just works his way up. I'm just thinking, oh, he's not going to shoot this one. Well, then he's like, oh, are you on him, And I'm like, you're not going to shoot this one, are you? Kind of whispering, and me saying that just totally changed his mind, and then he didn't want to shoot it, I guess. So I kind of wrecked that one, but which, I don't know if he really wanted to either, but so we passed that one up, and he could have shot him with a bow. He's right there, but anyway, I'm starting to cramp up, and I'm on that rock uncomfortable, so I kind of ask Justin if I can just spook the elk, so I just get up, and the elk kind of takes off. But we get back up there and show Mom the video at the horses there, and I can't believe this guy passing up two bulls like this, and kind of laughed about it a little bit, but then moved on down the ridge. Kind of got to the last basin. We could see into this one little pocket, and then actually where the big bull was the day before was down a steep part and down below us, and so we were kind of looking into that area, and there ended up being a small bull and a few cows right below us, you know. It could have been that big bull easily, you know, and if he would have been in there, it would have been a challenge to get him out. Pretty, you know, steep little basin down in there, but anyway, it wasn't. So to go after the big bull, we decided to just walk down the ridge because it was going to be pretty steep going up, and I was a little worried about taking horses back up it. But so we were just going to walk down it first, hunt it, and then signal to Mom if she needed to bring pack horses down or what we needed to do later. So anyway, Justin and I get down in there, and we think we're going to circle around. The wind was kind of going at an angle. You know, we get on this opposite side of the hill from where we think the bull is going to be bedded. And again, we hadn't seen him, you know, that day. So, I mean, we have no idea if he's anywhere around there. But we get down in there, and the wind just is going right to where we think that bull's going to be. I mean, from all directions, we just couldn't get the wind right. But anyway, we work in there, and I start calling, and Justin's just slowly walking through there. And all we need is for that bull to pop out, you know, just to show himself, you know. But he never bugled and never heard an elk, never saw an elk down in there. There was a lot of sign, but never saw an elk. So I don't know if they were just passing through there or what, but we didn't get the big one. So we had to hike back out up on the top and get back to Mom. And we were all pretty thirsty by that point. There had been no water up on top, and we hadn't brought a whole lot, so we were just gonna get back on the horses and ride back to camp. The next morning, it was raining that night and stuff, and I didn't really want to get up. And Justin, he wakes up, you know, I can hear him rustling around, and then he's like, oh, you know, I kind of want to go hunt that basin, you know. And I'm like, I don't know, it might be kind of slick getting over there, you know. Oh, I don't know if there's gonna be any elk, you know. And it's like, okay, well, we'll check it out. So sure enough, we get over there around the corner, and we start, you know, being able to see, and I think we heard the bugle up there, and there's a little herd of elk up there on that bench across the basin from us. So we get over there, it's starting to get light. They can see us, you know, nothing we can really do about it. So we just kind of get off horses and start leading them down through there, kind of acting like we're going to maybe go the other direction. And those elk kind of just hang out there, you know. I mean, they knew we were there, but they kind of stayed put. And we got out of sight, worked our way around, and actually got to where the bull I had killed a couple days before, where he was. And there was a bear on it. He had him all buried. You know, he had a dirt mounted up on him, but that was kind of the best place for us to go to get up on that bench, was right past him. But luckily, right when we turned the horses towards him, you know, he took off, and he ran off, and then we saw him walking off into the timber on the other side. But we got up there on that bench, tied the horses up, thought we were going to be kind of above the elk, pretty close to them. But from seeing us or just going to bed for the day or whatever, they had worked their way kind of up a little bit from where they were, and we saw a couple cows, moved up a little bit, got set up, and eventually saw the bull kind of working around in there. There was another little raghorn in there. Justin was getting set up, and he had his gun on a tripod, and was ranging him and getting his scope dialed, and it's going to be about 450 yard shot, so a little bit of a poke. And you know, I was cow calling, trying to keep the bull, you know, interested in, you know, coming back or not going away any further. And there was just one little opening kind of that we were going to get a shot in, and luckily he kind of circled back and was kind of messing with some cows right there. And and got him stopped. And Justin had one shot just right past a tree. He could just barely see the elk's like shoulder, and I mean, he says he must have, just a couple inches beside that tree to get that shot in there, but hit him just right. And bull just took a few steps down the hill and then rolled over, but that was it. Went down, got him cut up. We didn't exactly know what kind of bull he was. I didn't when he shot. I knew, he's a decent bull. He was the herd bull, I mean, at that point, kind of just gonna shoot about, any herd bull. So that's what Justin did, and he was a decent little 6 point. Kind of goofy on the one side, a little bit of character, I guess, but that's okay, no problem. So, and Justin, Mom, and Aunt Dawn actually went back and packed the elk out, while Jamie and I made a better meat pole to hang the meat from, and that took us just about as long as it took them to go get the elk and come back to camp. So by the time they got back, we were ready to hang the meat up, and then it was just celebrating and hanging out in camp, playing cards, and trying to enjoy ourselves for the next day. And we didn't do much the next day, just relaxed and got ready for the last day, which was pack up camp and everything and head out of there. Luckily, the horses, they were in a hurry. They made record time getting out of there, I think, and we all got out of there. So that was that, I guess. But pretty simple elk hunt. Everything went good, and can't wait to do it again next year.